Tom Ivy was born and raised in Nevada County. He graduated from Nevada Union High School and attended UC Santa Cruz, where he earned a degree in environmental studies with a focus in agriculture. In 2008, Tom moved back home and started working in his family's plumbing business, which he continues to this day. He was appointed to the Grass Valley Planning Commission in 2018 and elected to the City Council in 2020. And in 2024, he was just reelected to another term on the Grass Valley City Council. He's here with us today to chat a little bit about his recent appointment and more. So Tom, welcome here. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess, did the background, did I leave anything out that you think I should add about you?
I think that did it. Yeah. I'm a local boy and I came back.
There you go. Most people do. Well, let me ask you this. What led you to public service, and what do you wish to accomplish during your time on the council?
That's a great question. I think I was raised by a village here in Grass Valley, Nevada City when I was growing up, and it was an active community, and I loved it, and it did well by me. I had a great upbringing, and I have a great community here, and it instilled in me the passion to move forward with that, to work to provide that same ability for the rest of us. And so I take pride in enjoying this community, and I look forward to working to pass it forward.
Great. So. And let me ask you this. Do you feel that being on the local level plays a role in larger government?
Well, that's a great question. And I don't know the full answer. Our job is mostly local. So I would say most of it stays local, right? It's important that our local government keep a lot of our small issues in front of us so that we can continue to do a good job. Every once in a while, there's the opportunity for us to have a bit of maybe a bigger impact, collaborate with our neighbors to get some sort of common sense, good work done. And but most of it stays local. Yeah.
So. Well, you talked about collaboration with your neighbors. You mean like Nevada City, the county?
That's right.
The unincorporated areas of the county, and well, to an extent, even up in Truckee. How do you collaborate with them on things, or things that you have collaborated with them on?
That's right. Well, let's see. So, regionally, we have our Transportation Commission, where it's absolutely vital that we look at those issues regionally, including Truckee and Western Nevada County as a whole. At a certain point, a lot of issues don't have a city border or a city limit, right? Those issues continue right on over those limits. So it's important that we collaborate every day with Nevada City and Nevada County, and regionally, we're part of the greater Sacramento area. So whether that means working with Pioneer Community Energy, whether that means working with Caltrans on a little bit bigger region, whether, and more, right? I can't think of anything else on the tip of my tongue, but it's, we got to stay open. Again, we got to run our little city the best way that we can too. So, we don't want to lose sight of the local issues that are important, but
yeah. Got to fix the potholes. And
that's right.
Make sure the water comes on, things like that. I got to ask you. You mentioned Pioneer Energy, and I know the city the city of Grass Valley has entered into an agreement with them, and city of Nevada City has too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. But
the county hasn't. What's in it for the people of Grass Valley with Pioneer Energy? I mean, what helps them?
Great question. So what Pioneer Community Energy does is it solely takes the purchasing of electricity and the selling of electricity away from PG&E and gives it to a local office. In this case, that office is in Rockland. And so that office, on behalf of our community and all the communities that are in Pioneer Community Energy Service territory, it sells that electricity to us. Pioneer Community Energy does it at a cheaper price than PG&E, and they do it a little bit greener as well. They reinvest more in our local communities to the tune of, I think we're approaching $100 million in the Pioneer Community Service territory. So that includes Placer County and El Dorado County. So we keep more dollars local with Pioneer Community Energy. What Pioneer Community Energy doesn't do is it doesn't maintain transmission lines. So we still need PG&E to do their part there, and we still pay them to do that. And so we get this bill. If you live in Grass Valley city limits or Nevada City, you get a bill from PG&E, and it's kind of got layers. And so you'll have a little truncated portion that's from Pioneer Community Energy, and we still need PG&E too. So.
Okay. So how do you have an idea, an estimate, how much people are saving roughly on their power? Like, for example, I have a friend of mine who's on the board for a very small utility up in, believe it or not, way up in Modoc County. Surprise Valley Power or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And the people up there are paying like 8 cents a kilowatt hour compared to almost 50 cents an hour that PG&E does.
That sounds nice.
It sounds really nice. But I was wondering, are we seeing any kind of difference with Pioneer in prices? Have you seen, like in your own bill, you live in Grass Valley, so what have you seen on yours?
I haven't checked it recently. I think I was under $20 a month savings. It might have even been closer to 10. So it's marginal, right?
Okay.
It's we're not planning a new trip to Europe on the savings or anything like that, but
maybe Modesto.
That's right. But so it's not a deal breaker, right, or a deal maker for that fact. But it's the type of small steps that I think that our residents would like us to keep an eye on.
This day and age, $10 or $20 is $10 or $20.
It all adds up.
It adds up, absolutely. How, as a council member, how can you be impactful solving larger issues? And let me just take them one at a time. Homeless. How can you be impactful helping the homeless program? Lord knows we see a lot of, on the blogs and everything, people are going crazy about the homeless.
That's right.
As a city council member, what do you hope to do about that? Or what do you think you can do?
Right. Well, first off is we're not going to solve it anytime soon, right? So let's admit that, and let's not use that as an excuse not to tackle every single baby step that we can tackle. And as a region, we're coming around. We're doing some small steps. So we've been rezoning property. We've been using resources to build some transitional housing, like we talked about with Mike Dent. We're trying to change the housing equation so that housing gets built ever so slightly easier. Excuse me. And that's what I hope to continue on. Is I hope to make it cheaper and easier to build in Nevada County. I think it's time, and I'm speaking alone right now. I know that many of my colleagues aren't quite here with me yet. I think it's time that we don't charge as much for our building impact fees for single-family homes. And so I think it's time that we look at that fundraising equation and get that cost out of housing. On a larger level, it's vital that the state of California has a housing census. And this is something that we do talk about with when we are at our League of California Cities. We're not making progress there. But we have to know in more detail what's going on in the housing market in California. It's just that simple. Now, a lot of people are scared of that because it oftentimes can lead to some sort of taxes, maybe a vacancy tax like in British Columbia. We're not there yet, but we got to know more. We got to know more information. We got to make it more affordable to build, and we have to keep working together. And it's going to be a long road. So, but I'm committed to every single baby step that we can do because we have to. I mean, it's just the only option.
Now, you mentioned what is a housing census? What is that?
Well, as a state, as a greater Sacramento region, we just don't know the makeup of who owns what houses, right? So how many homes do corporations own in the greater Sacramento area? How many second homes were bought after COVID? We don't need to incriminate anyone. We don't need to point fingers, but we just have to know what our housing stock is made up of,
Sure.
and so that we can make decisions moving forward, right? So what's the rental market health? How many rentals are out there? Are they so we just need to have that information, and that's nothing new. That's what housing advocates are calling for at the state level, and we need to bang on that drum hard. We got to get there. So
let me ask you then. Now take another topic: the economy. Everybody's complaining about they go to the store and the price of eggs. I'm pulling just things you read on the paper.
Yeah.
What do you think you guys can do as a city council on that? Anything?
Well, and the price of eggs have gone up, haven't they?
Along with everything else.
Yeah. We can continue to foster our economy. We can continue to put our local vendors in a position for success. So Pioneer Community Energy is an example. We can, in the era of inflation, we held those electric bills just ever so slightly lower.
Mm-hmm.
We can do the type of work that we did on Mill Street so that there are more jobs, and so that people come to our area to spend their money, to shop, to create, to foster that job growth. In Grass Valley, we're working on bringing our green waste costs down. We're hoping, we've been working with the developer to bring a cheaper green waste solution to town, so that someone in town will get rid of our green waste more affordably than we currently have as an option. And in doing so, we hope that it'll have an impact on home insurance. So every time that we give someone a cheaper ability to maintain their property so that a home insurer doesn't raise their price, we think we're putting our people in a better place.
Okay.
So.
Which brings us into infrastructure. I know your last meeting, there was a discussion about some land that the city was going to get for free. And one of the things that was going to go on a part of it was a biomass plant. Would that play a part in the getting rid of green waste cheaper?
That's right. And that's what I'm talking and referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that biomass facility is potentially very exciting. We have a developer, West Biofuels out of Davis, who burns green waste in a very high-tech manner, very clean, no smoke, no pollutants. They turn it into green electricity. They'll create jobs locally, and they think they can do it for cheaper than the options that we have on the table currently. So we'll be saving money. Our tree contractors, our loggers, even our homeowners won't have to pay as much to take their green waste down the hill, and we'll be using it to do good things here in town.
You can do it cheaper than they are doing it at the transfer station.
That's right. And the transfer station still has a vital role to play.
Mm-hmm.
But the transfer station, they then have to take that and they have to ship it to Lincoln, I think, currently, and where there's a similar facility. And so, that just all adds up. So,
well, and that playing right into infrastructure, besides the plans for that biomass plant, what other kinds of infrastructure improvements are you looking at or being able to do?
That's a good question. We have, in the city limits of Grass Valley, we have a really exciting project on the horizon with the Wolf Creek Trail extension. So city staff, Bjorn Jones, Tim Kieser, successfully applied for a state grant. And they were awarded it recently for $13 million to take that Wolf Creek Trail from its existing location on Allison Ranch Road, take it through town all the way to Brunswick Road. So add a couple, I think 2 to 3 miles of trail. And now it's the type of infrastructure that is really cool, right? It's not something that will necessarily lead to new jobs overnight. Right, it's not, but it's something that improves our walkability. More kids will be able to ride to school on it. More of us will be able to hop on our e-bike and ride downtown and have dinner out. So it underwrites our economy, and it connects us, and that's important, and it's really exciting.
Well, good.
So, yeah.
What other kind of infrastructure things are you doing? I mean, I know you have the Measure. Let's see, I get my letters mixed up, but the Measure E money for repaving streets, and
that's right.
Did I get that one right?
You did. That's a great important point. We have a consistent source of sales tax that we use to repave our streets. I don't know the exact number, and every year we have a list of streets. Many of our residents know them quite well, right? That are ready, that need some love, that need some maintenance, and so we're busy every year. I think we spend at least a couple $1,000,000 a year repaving as many streets as we can with that set of income, and we need it, and it's good for our town. So we also have Measure B, which is a new sales tax, which is primarily related to fire prevention and fire service. And so we're excited to start rolling that out, related to some of the wildfire mitigation plan that you talked about earlier tonight. We're excited to start protecting our community with some land maintenance, clearing brush, and again working with our partners at Nevada County and Nevada City, looking at those high-risk areas, doing mastication, as well as making sure that we have enough staffing in our fire stations to take care of our community in an emergency.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this then: how do we think we can think outside of the box? Well, let me back up. And I talked to you earlier about this, so I'm not surprising you with something. There was an article in the Grass Valley Union, I don't know, a month ago, was it? You're familiar with what I'm talking about. That you had made some comments about, well, for the past year or better, there's been several people at every council meetings advocating for a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza, which a lot of people will go, what does Grass Valley have to do with Gaza? You know, like, is anybody going to care what this little small town cares or says? Right or wrong, that's, something. But then you were quoted as saying you wish you had brought that resolution forward, and then I've never seen anything more about it. I understand from like fifth or sixth hand that you had said that's not what I said or something. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to maybe come out and give it. Nobody's ever wrote your side of the story, so I wanted to see your side of the story here, what it's about.
I appreciate that, and thank you. And I don't know that I was misquoted too much. I can't. I'd have to read the story again already.
That's what happens when you get older. Your memory goes.
That's right. But the basic gist of it was correct. That you're right. Right. We're not going to change the outcome of that conflict. But it's come to my realization that having that community conversation still is a legitimate thing for our citizens, and I want to acknowledge that. That a lot of people in our community care about it, and that's really the tactful resolution that I just want to finish with.
Okay.
And that's all. We're never going to fully understand the history of that part of the world, and it's complicated, right? But what my community, on either side of the political spectrum, I think we all admit that it's turned into a travesty. It's turned into a disaster, and so that's really all I wanted to finish that conversation with my constituents, with the people of Grass Valley. Is for the most of us, I think we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. It's a bad situation, and it affects some people in this community. Maybe not firsthand, right? But it affects some of them, and let's just leave it right there.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I know that there was the article in the paper, and then there was a local columnist that's in the paper. I think he's on a weekly basis that made some sort of comment that well, you waited till after the votes were in before you know what the one I'm talking about. And I just wanted to see what your opinion was. There'd never been any rebuttal or another side to the story, so to speak. it's like, what is that? Paul Harvey used to say, and that's the rest of the story.
Right.
Well, that's what I was wanting to get from you, and I wanted to warn you, let you know ahead of time, before I asked you. I don't want to surprise anybody with anything.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate it, and no problem. And yeah, the timing on my part wasn't. I don't think that was in the best set of circumstances for everyone, but. I feel that's also neither here nor there. I think, if anything, the conversation around the national election just cemented that what we really need out of our local politicians is for them to be as straightforward as possible. And that's kind of what led me to be a little more frank about the conversation.
Right.
And so I'm okay with that. If that upsets someone that I did after the election, I apologize, and I can't control that.
Yeah.
So.
You're never. One thing I think, being on the city council, you're never going to make everybody happy. That's just not going to happen.
That's right.
It'll be a miracle whenever you figure out how to do that. Please, let's bottle it and pass it out. And now, how can we think outside the box to help achieve all that that we need to make our city function and improve the items that are needed? How can citizens help and think outside the box, so to speak?
That's a great question. Well, and maybe I don't have the best answer for it. What makes our community great is participation, and I do think we have more citizen involvement than a lot of places. Mm-hmm. But things like Nevada County Media, even our local Master Gardeners, our Rotary Club, our Native Sons of the Golden West, our Daughters of the American Revolution, our Donation Day Parade, we have a tight-knit community, and that's amazing. Now, everyone is welcome to come and ask that question directly at City Council, right? I would say each and every person, there's always more room for you to come to City Council and figure out how we can all do things better. So, because we really don't get a whole lot of that sometimes. So I would say that we got our work cut out with us in the future with our small issues, whether that's building more Firewise communities, whether that's being better neighbors, whether that's making sure our kids are doing what we need to be successful in our school system. Mm-hmm. So I would say let's continue to build that fabric of our community, and just and that's what makes it great for me, and that's why I love playing my small role in City Council.
Good deal. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add? Throw it out there. This is your chance to rock and roll.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad.
I think we all do that.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming in here and talking to us.
I appreciate it.
And your candidness and everything with it. I appreciate that a lot.